when you first told your parents that you wanted to be a music major, they might not have had the best reaction ever. And I want to talk about why that is and some things you can do to help them to understand and maybe be a little more supportive. I'm newly a parent. I've got a 1-and-7-month-old kid, and I understand some things that I never understood now that I see her, and I feel the things that I feel when I look at her and see her, learning and accomplish things. And I think about her future, and when I see her laugh, when I see her cry, I just see the world, the entire world, totally differently than I used to. And that has led me to understand some things about parents. And those might be things that you don't understand if you don't have a kid. And that stuff connects to you being a music major. See, parents are crazy about protecting their kids from bad experiences. Sometimes they're too crazy about it, because a bad experience will teach you some things that'll prepare you for life. But man, it's unbearable for a parent to watch their kid go through something. And so because of that, parents are wired. I'm wired as a parent. Parents are wired to be protective. And that's why your parents are not eager about you wanting to be a music major, is because they want to protect you. They want to protect you from financial hardship. They want to protect you from having to go through something difficult. And so because they're so eager to protect you from that, they want to protect you from being a music major. Why protect me from being a music major? Because they think that they understand what it's like to have a music career. And the problem is the things that they have learned about having a music career have come from bad sources. Your parents really don't know what they're talking about when they talk about what's going to happen in a music career. They've mostly learned what they think happens in a music career from media, from TV, from movies, which are, bad stories. They're dramatic stories, dramatized stories of the experiences that a professional musician would have. And so because of that, and maybe, they have a friend or someone who was a music major and it didn't work out for them, and so they're sure that it won't work out for you too. I don't blame your parents at all for being concerned about you wanting to be a music major. I don't blame them at all. But they're mostly getting information from the wrong source. And so that's what's leading them to be confident that this is a really, really bad idea for you. Now, I'll tell you right now, I make no promises on this channel about whether or not you personally can be a professional musician. I don't know you. I don't know if you practice. I don't know if you're cool or you're a jerk. So I have no idea if it's possible for you. But I do know that it is possible for somebody. It's possible for someone who is very committed to music and someone who's good to be around. And who can deliver the mail. If you're actually a really, really good musician, and you're good with dealing with people and understanding people, and you're a decent person to work with, you got a shot. I still ain't promising you nothing, but you got a shot. And if that shot is all you need to take the chance, knowing what the risks are, you should probably give it a shot, see what happens. But how in the world are you going to get your parents on board with this? Well, the first thing is you should be knowledgeable. See, what most people are used to is a set out path, so they're expecting something like, well, you go to elementary school, you go to middle school, you go to high school, you go to college, you get a degree, and then you take your degree qualifies you to do some interviews. You put your degree on your resume, and your resume makes you impressive. So now that you have this impressive resume, you can do some interviews and you're qualified for the job. And then after you do the series of interviews, then you get the job, and then you get the 9-to-5, and then you get all that stuff. That's a clear pipeline that so many people travel down. That pipeline is non-existent for musicians. I don't think ever been asked for my degree for a gig ever. The closest I've come to that is a couple times when I've considered teaching at a college. Other than that, nothing. Nobody cares about my degree. You know what they care about? They care about what it sounds like when I sit down behind a drum set. That's all they care about. They don't care nothing about my degree. Nobody asks me about my degree. I bet there's some people who I play with that don't even know I have a master's degree. Who cares? Can I deliver the mail or not? When I hit that ride cymbal, they know. They know. They know I don't need a degree if I don't have one, because they know it's swinging. That's not really how it works in the normal corporate world. And so people don't really understand that. And so their friend will get a music degree, and then, their music degree won't get them a job in an orchestra or, whatever, because maybe they didn't have the musical talent and ability, or maybe they weren't great to work with. But for whatever reason, the music degree itself doesn't get them anything. And so then, your parents or your friends or whoever think, well, music degrees are useless. I mean, yeah, the paper is useless. But if you got the skills are not useless. Trust me. And so part of it is understanding, like, how does the world of gigging, getting gigs, getting opportunities, how does that work? And you should be able to articulate that. You should do some research. My channel's a good place to do that, but there are other channels on YouTube. Hopefully there are some local musicians in your area that are making a living in music that you can talk to. There are thousands of interviews on YouTube. Man, I used to tear interviews up when I was in college. I listened to so many interviews and just understood, like, how does the world of making a living in music work? And I continue to do that to this day. But one of the things that's going to help you get your parents on board with this idea of you wanting to be a musician is you having some actual knowledge about how the world works and being able to explain it to them. Honestly, if you can't explain to your parents, like, how this works, they shouldn't support you going into a career like this, because you're going to need to be knowledgeable about how everything works. So if you can't articulate the way this works, maybe you don't need to be a music major. Maybe that's a sign. So it'd be good for you to learn the ins and outs, business-wise and career-wise, of what you're interested in doing. Another thing that will be helpful as you communicate with your parents about your interest in being a music major is for them to know that there is a backup plan. It's not a backup plan that I recommend for some ethical reasons, but it is a backup plan that exists. It is very easy, if you have a music degree, to get a music teaching certificate. At least in Florida it is, but I'm also aware of some other states where my friends have done this. And so if you set out to be a performer and you get a performance degree, or you get a composition degree or a conducting degree or whatever, and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, that does not mean that you can't get a teaching certificate and use the expertise and knowledge that you gained in your music degree to be of service in the education world. Nothing wrong with that. It's there and it's not that hard. Look it up. See if what I'm saying is true. This is going to be your future, so you should be interested in knowing. And so going back to the way people get information about what it's like to be a professional musician, people imagine, like, hey man, if it doesn't work out, you're just going to starve and you're going to die on the street destitute. And that's not actually the case. Like, if it doesn't work out, you can just get a teaching certificate. You can be a school band director if you want. So there's definitely a backup plan that exists. And that is not a bad backup plan. So that's another area where you should gather some knowledge. And if I was a parent and my kid came up to me after us having a conversation about me not agreeing with them being a music major, and they came back to me in a couple weeks and they said, Dad, I did some learning. And what I found out was that, there's actually a very easy backup opportunity in the event that me being a, professional clarinet player doesn't work out. And it's this. And by the way, I've interviewed and emailed 10, 15 different professional musicians, and I have actually a really good understanding of the way the profession works. And these are the things that I've learned. Man, a kid that shows up with that kind of information, I'm much more likely to be supportive of what they're interested in. Maybe that knowledge and that little bit of extra effort is what you need in order to get your parents on board. Your parents will probably feel a lot more comfort if you actually know what you're talking about. And maybe up to this point, you haven't known what you're talking about. And that's the real reason why your parents aren't supportive. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, doing this groundwork of being knowledgeable about the paths that are available and the resources that are available and the possibilities that are available, that's good practice for you being a professional musician anyway, because that's what I do all the time. Is I look for opportunities, I try to understand them and try to understand what is available to me, and then I move on them. And so maybe this is good practice for you. So don't be discouraged. Take it as a challenge. If your parents aren't on board with what you want to do, see if you can get them on board. the process of you learning and being able to articulate the information that is necessary to get them on board, that's going to be a process you do for the rest of your life for the opportunities that you want to create as a professional musician. So it sounds like it's time for you to go practice, huh? All right, bye y'all. Blessings.